Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we're going to carry on talking about the Adeptus Custodes. Now, why isn't this in the HQ video one video? Well, that's because at the time of recording, that video is already live. So, I thought I was going to do two videos today anyway, and then this stuff hit, the update for the troops, your standard linesmen, your standard plebs in the old Adeptus Custodes there, and I thought rather than just ditch the video that's already out, we'll just do this one now. Sounds like a plan to me. Probably slightly less efficient than doing one video in total, but who cares? Who cares? Who really cares? More rambling for the rambly god. So, this is actually kind of cool. This is interesting because this is, of course, talking about the troops for Codex Adeptus Custodes, and something that was bothering me a little bit was the fact that we weren't going to see Sisters of Silence in the same Codex as Adeptus Custodes. I was like, well, that's kind of crap because they work together all the damn time, they fight together, that's sort of the point. And also, surely that leaves the Custodes with a severe handicap when it comes to dealing with Psykers, because they don't have any Psykers of their own, at least not as far as I know, and nothing has come out to suggest otherwise. So it kind of seemed that they would be in a severe, they would have a severe issue against smite, spam, and all kinds of stuff. But no, Games Workshop have thought of this. Now, how effective this will be, I believe time will tell. I'm assuming it can't be too terrible, because I'm assuming Games Workshop have playtested these guys, but it'd be interesting to see what it's like in the real world, so to speak. So, what have they done to fix it? What have they done to change it? Well, Aegis of the Emperor has been tweaked a little bit. So, I mean, look at this. I quite like this. So, Aegis of the Emperor. The cellular alchemy that creates the warriors of the Adeptus Custodes leaves them forever touched by a spark of the Emperor's own greatness. Beyond their martial might and incorruptible nobility, incorruptible, not incorruptible, this energy manifests itself as an almost supernatural warding, as though the custodians were protected by the hand of the Emperor. Bullets and bolts are turned aside at the last moment, blades fail to strike home, and even the psychic powers of the foe can suddenly and inexplicably flicker away to nothing in the face of the 10,000. Models with this ability have a 5+ invulnerable save. In addition, roll a d6 each time a model with this ability suffers a mortal wound in the psychic phase. On a 6, that mortal wound is ignored. I quite like that. I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility in terms of what you could expect from a bit of protection from the Emperor himself, if you are that near and dear to him, which of course the Custodes are. It's a nice way to kind of offset that lack of Sisters of Silence in the Codex. It's a nice way to maybe, hopefully, keep things a little bit more fair in terms of, Custodes not just getting wrecked left, right and centre by psychic powers. So yeah, I'm hoping that proves to work pretty well. It's a nice little solution, I think, but as we say, we'll just have to wait and see how effective it is. Now, something that is also interesting is this, the Emperor's Chosen, which it's for if you're taking a full detachment. So it's like the other bonuses that we've seen for other armies. So if you're taking a pure Adeptus Custodes detachment, infantry and biker units get +1 to their invulnerable saves to a maximum of 3+. So again, I mean, in practice this means that none of your units, including custodian guards, will ever have worse than a 4+ invulnerable save. So if you are running pure Adeptus Custodes, you've got a 4+ invulnerable save just off the bat, just straight away. So you're looking at like a 2+ and 4++. That's really quite good. That's nice. I like that. It's decent. Again, I think they've done a good job there. I mean, the fluff text for the Emperor's Chosen is the foremost guardians of the Emperor eternally blessed, bearing the master of mankind's unearthly protections at all times. Just in case you wanted to know. So yeah, again, I think that's a nice little solution. I think that's a nice little compromise, I think, is probably the way to go. Now, what else have they got, though? That's the question. They also have Sworn Guardians, the 10,000, the ultimate executors of the Emperor's will. They fight with absolute certainty and an unshakable conviction in the rightness and necessity of their every action. They possess a truly manifest destiny, and they are as unstoppable in seizing that which is theirs, and by extension the Emperor's, as they are in defending it. This, again, I like this as a solution to a problem. A unit with this ability that it's within range of an objective marker as specified in the mission controls the objective marker even if there are more enemy models within range of that objective marker. If an enemy unit within range of the objective marker has a similar ability, then the objective marker is controlled by the player who has the most models within range of it as normal. Again, I think it's a pretty decent solution to something that would be a severe issue for Custodes. You know, the low model count would be a killer otherwise when it comes to objective-based games. Anything that involves take and hold, what are you going to do? Especially when, like, you can take a unit of one Terminator. What is one Terminator going to do to control an objective? That kind of fixes it. Now, I know that there will probably be people who are like, well, hang on a second. Hang on. That just means that you have to just wipe them off the board. Well, yeah, to be honest, I think that fits. I cannot, but unless you count tactical retreats, which of course the player is perfectly within their ability and right to make, you're not going to see the Custodes running away from the objective. They're just going to stand there and fight for it, which absolutely suits them. And again, I think that reflects quite well in that ability. Now, it does seem a little bit daunting, but to be honest, they are low model count. There's not going to be a huge amount of Custodes hanging around. I know it's a lot of wounds to shift, but traditionally, lots of wounds on one model isn't quite as good as lots of models with one wound, if you know what I mean. So I think it's a nice compromise. I think it should work out okay. Again, I have to see what it's like in practice, but it seems like a decent solution to an otherwise just insurmountable problem, because you're not going to have the numbers to hold an objective with a Custodes force, a pure Custodes force. You've just got no chance. So yeah, again, I think that's a decent compromise. I think they're doing a decent job with that, actually, because it's a very specialised army, it's a very specialised force, and there are downsides to it, but I think so far I'm impressed with how they're handling it. I think they're not doing too bad with it, and I'm happy. I'm liking it. It feels a bit different. It feels a little bit different to other stuff. I'm not sure whether that's just because it feels new, whether it's new or not, but I'm definitely getting an interesting vibe off these guys, which is just as well because they look quality and I want them. So let's have a look at some stratagems. We also have, for one command point, Piercing Strike. Placing their spear blows perfectly, the Custodians pierce armor joints and vital systems to slay enemy war engines. I can't talk today. Use this stratagem when you select an Adeptus Custodes army from your unit from your army. God damn, let's try that again. Placing their spear blows perfectly, the Custodians pierce armor joints and vital systems to slay enemy war engines. There you go, that was proper English. Use the stratagem when you select an Adeptus Custodes unit from your army to attack in the fight phase. Add 1 to wound rolls made for that unit's Guardian Spears until the end of the phase. See, I can read, it's possible. Occasionally. We also have, for your 1 command point or 3 command points, from Golden Light they come. Through use of ancient God Strike pattern teleportariums, the Custodians can deploy straight into the heart of battle. That's so silly, I love it. From Golden Light they come. Through use of ancient God Strike patterned teleportariums. That might be one of the daftest 40k sentences I've ever read, and I'm 100% in favour. The Custodians can deploy straight into the heart of battle. I've started laughing, so now I'm coughing. No, but hold it back, it's fine. Use this stratagem during deployment. Instead of placing them on the battlefield, you can set up a 1 Adeptus Custodes infantry, biker or dreadnought unit from your army in a God Strike pattern teleportarium array for 1 command point, or 2 such units for 3 command points. Okay, I get it. At the end of any of your movement phases, these units can teleport into battle. Set them up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from enemy models. This stratagem can only be used once per battle. Right, okay, that's interesting. No, I like that. So yes, they are getting the ability to deep strike in. There doesn't appear to be any sort of role for its situation. It is just during deployment, and you can just stick them in there for 1 command point or 3 command points for 2. Yeah, 3 command points for 2. I thought I'd said it the other way around, but I hadn't. And then you can just set them up. Again, that's quite good because they're not the most mobile of forces. Yes, there is 6-inch movement, but that's nothing special. The infantry itself unless it's in a Land Raider, it's not going to be, you know, legging it all that swiftly. So yeah, I quite like that. I quite like that. There's an interesting flavour to these that I'm quite liking. They feel a little bit different to anything I've really played before. Now, there's maybe some of you have played armies that are similar to this, and are just like, it just seems fine to me. It just seems normal. But I've never really played anything that feels quite this elite. I mean, I've got my stupid Terminator Strike Force, but that was just crap. So I love it, don't get me wrong. I love having a fully painted army in the shape of that, but it wasn't good. Whereas this actually feels like it might not be completely useless, which is nice, to be honest. Looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm liking that. It looks good. We also have an in-depth preview tomorrow of what the new Codex means for the war machines of the Custodes, including the new Virtus Praetors. I actually genuinely don't know what that is, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this so far. I think they're doing a decent job with these guys. I think there's some interesting solutions to problems that perhaps other armies might not particularly face. Some creative solutions for stuff, especially the objective holding thing. I do think that's a decent way of doing that. I'll have to see how it works out on the field. But overall, they're building my excitement, which is kind of impressive because I was already pretty excited anyway. Anyway. What do you reckon? Good, bad, indifferent? Still just waiting for that Xenos love? I mean, we all are, but let me know what you think in the comments below. In the meantime, click any of the links if you want to on the screen. There's a subscribe, Patreon videos, all of that stuff. Click it if you want, don't click if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you. I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.